Most of my young life, I ran away from responsibility. I struggled to get my homework done. If I didn't get my homework done, I would make excuses. I never got a job till I had to. I never helped at home. The only chore I ever did was just clean the house. I learned all this from my father. Don't get me wrong. I know some of you have heard me share about my father before, but I love my father, and my father loved me. And the greatest gift he gave me was that he did love me, and I knew that. He also taught me to love sports. He taught me to love classical music. He taught me to stand up for the little guy. But when I came to running away from responsibility, I did learn that from my father. I saw him and I copied him. It's only when I met Jesus that I wanted to be better. I wanted to be perfect. I started seeing the young adult core leaders, the men at Life Teen in Richmond, and I started learning responsibility there. And I learned more from the monks at Westminster Abbey. I think I've been negligent in my duty as pastor in that I haven't been completely candid speaking to the men here at our parish. I haven't said what I think is the truth, what I've observed, and I don't think I've called men to reach Christ's standard. So I'm going to try and do that today. I'm going to try and do it with love. When I arrived here 6.5 years ago, to be honest, I didn't see most men here as being spiritually strong. For every spiritual event that we would have, 5 women would come, but only 1 man would show up. And from my observation, most, not all, men here were very passive and shy and had little passion for God. I'm trying to strike the right tone here right now. I don't want to hurt anyone. I'm trying to speak the truth with love and help us all grow. To sum it up, I would say I don't think men here have been entirely spiritually responsible. And I will also say this, after 6.5 years of being here, I do see that copied in some young men. And I'm sorry to say this, and I don't say it, doesn't give me any joy to say it, but it should be said. There are some young men here who look defeated. They lack confidence. They're very passive. They're very self-focused. We should try to help them improve. It's true that in every religion, women are more devoted than men. In almost all Catholic parishes, almost all, women are more spiritual than men. But there are some parishes, some local parishes, where the men are stronger than our men. At those parishes, you will see more men leading prayer, leading spiritual ministries, going to daily mass, going to confession. You will actually see them deliberately mentoring younger men. I am not the only one who sees this. Other priests, when they come and visit, and other people who travel the diocese, they can see this. We do have a problem. It is getting better, though. I should have brought this up earlier, years ago, so I apologize that I didn't. Here's the great news. There's been so much spiritual growth in the men. More men come to daily mass. More men go to confession. More men are leading prayer. More men are leading spiritual ministries. And the thing that invigorates me the most is a lot of men say, just say the truth. That really gets me in a good way. They want to hear it, so let's go there. Let's look at the gospel. Let's see what kind of men Jesus calls us to be. He says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand, who is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away. Jesus is the perfect man. He is the perfection of masculinity, and here he shows us that one of the marks of masculinity is that a man lays down his life so that other people can live. Obviously, all Christians have to lay down their lives because that's a perfection of love. With men, it takes a certain form. Because men are, on average, larger than women, physically stronger than women, our sacrifice quite often comes in the form of protection. Men are called by God to protect other people. We're called to protect our siblings, our family, groups of people. And if anyone might misunderstand what I'm going to say and what I am saying right now, I'm not saying that women should be helpless. They should only be rescued. If you don't want to misunderstand me, go watch 3 of my favorite movies. Go watch The Hunger Games. Go watch A Quiet Place. Go watch Aliens, where the woman is clearly the protagonist, but a lot of men around her are responsible. That's a great model. Jesus distinguishes a shepherd from a hired hand. So what he's actually doing here is he's actually giving us 2 choices. And for men, that choice is, are we going to lay down our life and give life to other people, or are we going to take it? So we put it this way: a man has a choice of either being the protector or a predator. And actually, there is a third choice that avoids making the choice. The third option is being a wimp. This person, this man, doesn't give life, doesn't take life, but pulls back, gives up. This person is indifferent. And the choice to sacrifice himself for the man is primarily spiritual. So Jesus' example points to the spiritual. So a lot of good fathers, they do so well. They provide for the physical, the material well-being of their family. But Jesus' example tells us the primary sacrifice that a man has to make is to provide for the spiritual, the moral well-being of his family. If you go to the most vibrant Catholic parishes, you'll see the men there. They will work very hard at their day job. But then they'll come to the parish and they will lead and they will lay down their life spiritually so that others can live. And this choice to sacrifice ourselves, it does seem to be a predominantly male reality. It's a choice. So women tend to be more responsible than men, naturally. So 2 examples come to mind. One is, if there's a breakup in a family, which spouse usually leaves? It's usually the father. The father chooses to leave, but the mother instinctively takes responsibility for the children. The other example is, you don't see as many young ladies lost the way you'll see young men lost, just playing hours and hours of video games without any clear direction in life. Maybe this is because women have an innate sense of motherhood. So every month, a woman biologically has a reminder that her body, her being is preparing for motherhood, is capable of motherhood. And motherhood has to do with responsibility. Now, we men, we don't have that natural reminder. And so, because we don't have that natural biological reminder, we must choose, we must assume responsibility on our own. And that's why, boys, in order to become men, to make that jump, we typically have rites of passage where we make that choice. In our culture, young men would have certain steps in maturation. And these steps we actually celebrate. We're really happy. So a step would be volunteering. So it's a gift. Getting a driver's license. Getting a job. Helping your younger siblings. Asking a girl out, because that's a kind of taking a lead. Buying a car. Living on your own. Now, you don't have to do all those things, but they are signs, and they are beautiful signs of saying, well, I don't have to, but I want to help other people. And Jesus says, the hired hand runs away because a hired hand does not care for the sheep. It's about care. When we care about other people, we take responsibility. When we love them, we take responsibility for them. In marriage, one of the great gifts that a man can embrace is he has a choice to assume a sacrifice equal to that of his wife. So when a woman is pregnant, she also often has to endure periods of pain leading up to the pain of labor, but the man doesn't have that. But the man gets a choice to assume the sacrifice. So fathers have to they have to do more to share the responsibility of parenthood. So a husband will say, I'm going to do more work, I'm going to do more chores, I'm going to do whatever I can to help my wife. And that's when we start becoming more and more like Jesus. Love and responsibility are connected. The more we love, the more we take responsibility. Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. I know my own know me, just as the Father knows me and I know the Father. It's really beautiful. Jesus says he knows us. Why does he know us? Because we belong to him. We are his. Now, Pope Benedict says some beautiful things about this. The way he says, children and parents belong to each other in mutual responsibility. So parents belong to their children in the sense that they take responsibility for their children. And then children, as they grow, they belong to their parents, same family. They grow in responsibility and they start taking more and more responsibility for the parents. So we belong to Jesus. He belongs to us. And Jesus says that he cares for the way he cares for the Father is the way he cares for us. And that's why he lays down his life for us. He says, for this reason, the Father loves me because I lay down my life in order to take it up again. So the more we love our family, the more we take responsibility for them. And it's done willingly. See, no one is forced. And Jesus says, no one takes my life from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. See, that's the beauty of choosing love, of choosing responsibility. You don't have to, but you get to. That's a sign of love. And he continues, I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it up again. I have received this command from my Father. Next week, I'm going to be away for 1 week of rest. So today is my last opportunity to invite you to 2 events coming up very soon that I've mentioned before. The first event, starting this week, Alpha. I want you to think about inviting the people you love to try Alpha, because I want you to take responsibility for them. I want you to pray for them. I want you to love them. So Alpha is starting this Wednesday and Thursday. It's our responsibility. So that's the first event I would like you to invite. I want you to pray for your friends. And so our reflection question for this week is, Jesus, where in my life do you want me to take more responsibility for others? And the second event I want to invite you to is we have the consecration to Jesus through St. Joseph starting May 8th. And I think this is going to be a wonderful game changer for our parish. So this is the first big event that I've mentioned in terms of the theme of family. Now, why do I believe it's going to be such a game changer for our parish? Because for 6 weeks, we're going to be meditating on the Holy Family. We're going to see the way St. Joseph, our Mother Mary, and Jesus love each other. The way we see that mutual responsibility for each other. We're going to reflect on that. We're going to talk to them. We're going to ask their help in healing us. That is going to strengthen our families. So I'm begging all of you disciples, sign up this weekend and pick up your book. Now here's a picture of Kendrick Castillo. In 2019, in Colorado, when he was 18 years old, a gunman went into his classroom and told everyone not to move, and Kendrick rushed at him, pinned him to the wall. The gunman got off 1 bullet, killed Kendrick, but the 28 other students were saved. And I now want to share with you portions of what Kendrick's father, John, wrote about him. His father says, I remember how happy we were when the time came to have Kendrick baptized and to introduce him to Christ and his church. I loved Kendrick so much. I spent so much time with him. We went camping, fishing, hunted deer and elk, and we went to Mass. I was reliving with Kendrick the life I had with my father, and this is the beauty of having a strong father figure in one's life. Kendrick was also an altar server and helped priests with funerals. He took great joy in helping people. Picnics, holiday gatherings, Kendrick helped with it all. The guys loved him. Oftentimes, Kendrick would listen to the veterans telling war stories. Kendrick was so impressed with their patriotism and service to our country, along with their strong faith. There were times when my wife would call me at work, ask if I were very busy, and tell me that I should take some time to grab a Happy Meal and go eat lunch with Kendrick. I would always take her up on the suggestion and show up unexpectedly at school. That type of stuff is so important. We should take more time to thank God for the life and blessings He has given us. Thank you, God. I know this is a story about fatherhood, but I must tell you about my wife, Maria. She is the one who gave Kendrick his amazing heart. When he was a baby, she would do all the things mothers do: dress him in nice clothes, teach him to read him books, put on videos like Veggie Tales. She also played a major role in teaching Kendrick about his Catholic faith. Our lives have changed in a significant way since Kendrick died. To be perfectly honest, the hardest part for me has been to see my wife's pain. I just pray that I am strong enough to carry us both through this life until the day we meet Kendrick again. The special bond I shared with Kendrick sometimes makes me think of the two gunmen and their fathers. Shooter A regularly witnessed his father beating his mother when his father was around at all. Just 11 days before the attack, Shooter A tweeted that he missed his father. In fact, Shooter A was a biological female who transitioned in high school. As for Shooter B, before leaving his house to kill his classmates, he spray painted F Society, then doused his mother's car with gasoline and set it on fire. I was not surprised when I learned about what Kendrick did. His whole life led up to that moment. He absorbed all the good things he and I had been raised with, all that he had been taught by strong and faithful Catholic men, positive father figures who love God. In one split second, Kendrick summoned up all he had learned in his life in order to protect his friends and save their lives. Kendrick was doing what his grandfather, father, mother, and church taught him. He was being like Jesus, and there is no greater love than that.